Jared wandered through the crowded stalls of the Orion 9 spaceport market, his heart light with curiosity as lanterns of every color flickered overhead. When he first spotted the tiny crystalline creature nestled among trinkets on a vendor's dusty table, its body glowed with a soft, pearly light that pulsed gently as if it breathed, and its translucent form shimmered in hues of pale blue and rose. Drawn by an inexplicable warmth, Jared reached out a careful hand, and the creature chirped, a sound like wind chimes dancing in a summer breeze. In that instant, he felt a surge of kindness and protection swell within him, as though this fragile being had waited just for him. He paid the vendor with a few credits he had earned in months of honest work and carried his new companion home, cradling it against his chest in a soft cloth. As he walked, he imagined introducing it to neighbors, telling them the story of how a simple act of mercy had brought this little marvel into his life. Back in his modest apartment, he placed the creature gently on his living room table, where it explored its new surroundings with graceful steps that left tiny glowing footprints. On the polished surface, Jared watched in quiet wonder as the pet tilted its head at the ticking of his wall clock and seemed to hum softly, echoing the gentle rhythm of his own heartbeat. In that moment, loneliness that had shadowed his days felt to him a distant memory, replaced by an eager hope that warmed his chest and made his eyes shine. He smiled as he fetched a small bowl of purified water, which the creature lapped with delicate precision, each sip accompanied by a soft, tinkling note like a lullaby meant for weary souls. Night fell outside, and silver moonlight filtered through the window, casting gentle patterns across the walls. Jared sat on the edge of his cot, the creature curled in his palm, its light reflecting his own thoughtful gaze. He stroked its smooth surface and murmured quietly, "You are more than a pet, aren't you?" The creature responded with a series of luminous pulses that filled him with both wonder and a profound sense of responsibility. He felt a tender protectiveness stir in him stronger than anything he had known before. As he prepared for sleep, he placed the creature on a soft cushion beside his pillow, its glow casting a gentle halo that chased away the shadows. In the quiet hush of night, two lives, one human. One mysterious found warmth and companionship in each other's presence. Jared drifted to sleep with a soft smile, comforted by the gentle glow and the promise of a bond that felt both new and timeless. He did not yet understand the depth of the miracle he carried home, but he sensed that his world had changed forever, and that in the heart of this small crystal being lay the spark of something extraordinary waiting to awaken. Jared awoke the next morning to a soft glow filling his room. He sat up and reached for his crystalline companion, finding it perched on the edge of his pillow. The creature's light pulsed gently, and Jared noticed a small scratch on his palm one. He did not remember getting the night before. He frowned, but before worry could settle in, the glow brightened around the scratch. He watched, amazed, as the shallow cut closed itself, the skin knitting together as though healed by loving hands. A thrill of wonder and relief washed over him. He had never felt such warmth or kindness from any being before. He moved to his kitchen table, carrying the creature in a soft cloth. As he set it down, it emitted a soft humming tune, a melody so calm and sweet that Jared's heart felt lighter. With each note, the hum reminded him of lullabies his mother once sang when he was a child before distance pulled them apart. In that moment, he felt both comforted and a gentle ache for home. Tears pricked his eyes, but he brushed them away with a smile, grateful for this strange little friend who seemed to understand what his heart needed. Through the morning, Jared went about his small chores, tidying the apartment, watering the single potted fern by the window. Each time he paused, the creature would hum and glow brighter, as if encouraging him. When he paused to look out at the busy street below, it chirped softly, and he imagined it saying, "You matter." A surge of hope filled him. Maybe he did matter. Maybe kindness, his own kindness, had drawn this being to him by midday. Jared decided to test the creature's healing gift again. He carefully pricked his finger with a sewing pin small. Controlled pain and watched the crystal's light swirl around the wound. Within seconds, the pinch mark faded, leaving his skin smooth and whole. He drew a deep breath, half in awe and half in concern. "You are extraordinary," he whispered. The creature responded with a gentle glow that warmed his chest like the embrace of an old friend. That afternoon, a neighbor's child dropped her toy in the hallway outside Jared's door. Jared picked it up and knocked gently. When the little girl opened the door, her eyes widened at the sight of the glowing companion. With shy delight, she reached out, and the creature hopped onto her palm. It hummed a sweet tune, and the child giggled, her sadness forgotten. Jared watched, his heart swelling with quiet joy. He realized that this gift, this small being could bring comfort to others too. As evening fell, Jared felt a curious restlessness. He sat on his cot, the creature curled in his hand, and closed his eyes. Images of distant stars and ruined palaces flickered behind his eyelids. He felt a pull toward someplace far away, a throne room under a twin sunset sky. He saw a figure in regal robes, her eyes heavy with sorrow. When he opened his eyes, the room was dark except for the pet's steady glow. It hummed softly, as if urging him to remember. A shiver ran down Jared's spine, a mixture of excitement and unease. He spoke aloud, voice soft in the hush. "Show me more." The creature's glow brightened, and another melody unfurled, this one tinged with longing. In that moment, Jared understood that this was no ordinary pet. It held memories and messages from a world beyond his own, yet he felt no fear, only a deep curiosity and a fierce protective urge. He cupped the creature like a precious treasure and whispered, "I will help you, whatever you need." That night, Jared lay awake, the creature nestled beside him on a cushion. Its glow bathed the room in gentle light, and he felt a warm, steady hope bloom inside him. He did not know what lay ahead, but he sensed that their bond was real and that together they would uncover the mysteries hidden within that crystal heart. Jared woke before dawn, his mind heavy with fragments of dreams. In the pale light of morning, he rubbed his eyes and reached for the crystal creature, still warm in his palm. It pulsed softly, as if it understood his restless heart. Well, it closed and remembered the dreams. Golden halls under twin suns, princess bound in crystal, and a voice calling his name across the void. A quiet ache filled him. He wanted to know who she was and why she chose him. After a simple breakfast of nutrient paste and water, Jared carried the creature through the humming corridors of the city library. The building's high arches and rows of glass shelves made him feel small, but hope warmed his chest. He set the crystal on a reading table and searched dusty tomes on alien legends. His fingers trembled as he flipped pages of faded script and ancient illustrations, looking for any sign of a cursed princess. One leather-bound volume caught his eye. It described the planet Zephyria, where a kind-hearted royal named Solara once ruled. The book said a jealous warlord trapped her in living crystal, hiding her away until someone pure of heart could free her. Jared's breath caught. He traced the words with his fingertip and felt the creature glow brighter, as if nodding. Single tear rolled down his cheek. He had found her name. He borrowed the tome from the librarian, a gentlewoman named Mira, who peered at the crystal creature. With wide eyes, "It is said true friendship breaks the darkest magic," she whispered, studying the pet's iridescent glow. Her voice was warm and full of kindness, and Jared felt a surge of gratitude. He promised he would learn all he could and protect this little being who carried so much sorrow and hope back in his apartment. Jared set the book on his desk and watched the creature explore the pages. Suddenly, its light shimmered, and the air grew warm. He closed his eyes and felt himself pulled into another vision. He stood in a silent throne room, columns of white stone stretching to a sky of violet dusk. Before him knelt a woman in a flowing gown of crystalline light Solara. Her eyes were bright and sad. "Find the shrine of unity," she whispered, her voice echoing like a soft wind. "There you will break my curse." Jared gasped and opened his eyes. The crystal creature sat on the desk, its glow steady but calm, as if it had just spoken. Those words itself, his heart pounded. He touched its smooth surface and promised, "I will find this shrine, Solara. I will set you free." Relief flooded through him. Mingled with a tender fear, this quest would lead him far beyond his quiet life. That evening, Jared packed a small bag, water rations, a datapad loaded with notes from the Zephyria book, and a thin blanket. He placed the crystal creature carefully in a padded box and secured it on his shoulder. As he zipped his bag, he felt a fierce protectiveness well up inside him. He would journey across star systems if he must, guided by the bond they shared. Before leaving, he paused by his window and looked out at the glittering city lights. The world felt larger now, full of mystery and promise. He whispered to the night, "We begin tomorrow." The crystal's light pulsed once in agreement. In that moment, loneliness fell away, replaced by a bright hope that shone as clearly as the stars above. Together, they would follow Solara's call and discover if kindness truly held the power to conquer ancient magic. Jared eased into the pilot's seat of the small star freighter, his fingers brushing the smooth console as he prepared for the jump to Zephyria. The crystal creature nestled in a soft cradle beside him, its light steady and comforting. As he activated the quantum drive, his heart fluttered with both hope and nervous excitement. He thought of Solara's words, "Find the shrine of unity," and he vowed to guide them there safely. The stars blurred into ribbons of light around him, and Jared closed his eyes for a moment, feeling the gentle hum of the ship beneath his hands. When he opened them again, a single lilac sun hovered on his view screen, casting its soft glow across a world of rolling lavender fields. Zephyria. He exhaled, smile lifting the corners of his lips, and guided the ship into the atmosphere. Touching down on a grassy plain, Jared stepped onto the planet's surface. The air scented with sweet blossoms that drifted like drifting snowflakes.
Ow.
The crystal creature glowed brighter at his side as though breathing in the fragrant breeze. Crouched and offered it a handful of petals, which it crunched softly, filling the air with a tinkling laugh. For a moment, he forgot his mission and simply marveled at the beauty. Around him, he unfolded the datapad and studied a star map that marked the path to the Shrine of Unity. According to the old texts, it lay hidden deep within the glass wood. Forest, where towering trees with bark-like mirrored panels rose toward the sky. Jared's pulse quickened. He had never ventured into such a place, but he trusted the creature's guidance. Together they climbed into the ship's open cargo hold and set out on foot at the forest's edge. Light fractured into dancing patterns as sunbeams struck the mirrored bark. Jared paused, awed by the sight, and the crystal creature hopped onto a low branch, its glow reflecting among the trees. Each step into the wood felt sacred, as if the forest itself held its breath. Jared brushed his hand against the smooth bark, feeling a calm strength that reminded him of gentle kindness. Deeper in the forest, whispers of wind carried faint music notes of an ancient song that stirred something warm in Jared's chest. He followed the melody, careful not to startle the crystal as it led the way. They came upon a clearing where a circle of standing stones glimmered like frozen light. At the center stood an altar of polished crystal, etched with symbols of unity, and hope Jared's breath caught. This was the Shrine of Unity. He approached the altar slowly, the crystal creature perched on his shoulder, its weight light but reassuring. Jared placed the little being atop the pedestal and knelt before it. His voice trembled slightly as he spoke the vow he had practiced in his mind. "I promise to protect you and to honor the bond that brings us together. Through trust and kindness, I will break your curse." As the final word left his lips, the creature's light flared in joyous bloom. The standing stones around them pulsed with soft radiance. And for a moment, the world seemed to sigh in relief. Jared felt warmth course through his veins, stronger than any warmth he had known. He closed his eyes, imagining Solara freed at last. He thought of her gentle eyes and hopeful smile, and he held on to the promise that had carried him across worlds. When he opened his eyes again, the crystal creature lay still, its light dimmed to a soft glow. Jared's heart fluttered with both wonder and careful concern. He scooped the creature into his hands and whispered, "Rest now, friend. We will journey on together." With the promise fulfilled and the shrine's magic stirring around them, Jared knew their adventure was far from over, but he felt ready for whatever came next, buoyed by the bond that had brought an alien princess back to life. Jared sat quietly by the edge of the shrine as dusk settled over the forest. The mirrored trees shimmered in the fading light, casting soft reflections that danced like ghosts of the past. In his hands the crystal creature lay still but warm, its glow faint but steady. He held it close to his chest, as if trying to share his own heartbeat, whispering gentle words. "You're not alone anymore. I'm here." His voice trembled, full of emotion. He didn't fully understand what had happened at the altar, but he knew something inside the creature had changed. Something had awakened. Suddenly, a soft hum filled the air, not from the forest, but from the creature itself. The glow deepened, and the warmth in Jared's hands grew stronger. Then in a slow, graceful motion, the crystal body began to shift. Light cracked through its surface like morning sun breaking through clouds. Jared gasped and took a step back, heart pounding. The creature rose into the air, hovering a few feet above the altar. Its glow expanded, wrapping the clearing in soft, golden light. Before Jared's eyes, the small form stretched and reshaped. No longer a creature, but a figure tall, elegant, and radiant. When the light faded, standing where the pet once was, stood a young woman. Draped in soft silver robes that shimmered like starlight, her eyes, a deep shade of violet, sparkled with tears. She looked at Jared, her lips trembling. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice soft as a breeze. He broke the curse. Jared could hardly breathe. He stepped forward slowly, his voice low with awe. You're her, Solara." She nodded, her expression filled with emotion. "I have waited so long, trapped in silence, watching the galaxy pass me by. And yet, you, a simple human, with no power, only kindness, heard my voice. You chose to care." Her eyes shimmered with gratitude, and Jared felt a deep ache in his chest. He hadn't done anything special, just followed his heart. But to her it meant everything. They sat together, under the soft stars, and Solara told him the full story. She had once ruled Zephyria, a world of peace and light. But a jealous rival cursed her, turning her into a crystal being, hidden away in a forgotten market stall. Only someone with a pure heart could awaken her. Centuries had passed, empires had risen and fallen, and still she had waited. Until Jared. Jared listened with quiet wonder. He had always felt small in the vast galaxy, like just another face among billions. But now he realized that even small acts offering kindness to a lonely creature, believing in dreams, could change everything. He looked at Solara, no longer just a stranger from the stars, but someone who had trusted him with her story, her life. "I'm glad I found you," he said softly. "And I'm glad it was you," Solara replied, her hand brushing his gently as. The night deepened. The shrine's stones glowed faintly behind them, like guardians keeping watch. Jared knew the journey wasn't over. Solara still carried the weight of her lost kingdom, and she would need help to restore it. But he also knew something stronger than magic had already begun, the bond between two hearts that crossed time, stars and silence. Jared looked up at the sky, feeling the stars closer than ever before. He wasn't just a traveler anymore. Was part of something greater. He would walk beside Solara, wherever her path led. The morning sun peeked through the tall trees of the glasswood forest, casting golden light over the grass where Jared and Solara sat quietly. The dew sparkled around them like tiny stars. Jared offered Solara a warm drink from his flask, and though it was simple, she accepted it with a grateful smile. Her silver robe shimmered softly, and her long hair flowed down her back like strands of light. She looked calm, but her eyes held deep sadness, memories of a life lost long ago. Jared saw that pain and felt a deep ache in his heart. He didn't know how to bring back her kingdom, but he wanted to help her feel safe, seen, and not alone anymore. Solara turned to him slowly and spoke with a gentle voice. "In my time, I was called a ruler. I wore crowns and gave orders. I had no real friends, no one who saw me as just ... me. You're the first." Jared didn't know what to say. He simply reached for her hand and held it softly, letting silence speak for him. That quiet moment between them was more powerful than any words. Solara smiled, and it wasn't the smile of a princess. It was the smile of someone finding peace for the first time. They walked through the forest together, the birds singing gently above them. The more they walked, the more Jared noticed the way Solara looked at everything like it was all new. The way her fingers brushed the petals of strange flowers, the way she paused to listen to the soft rustle of the leaves. "So much has changed," she said. "And yet, kindness still exists." Jared looked at her, his chest full of warmth. "It always will. Sometimes it just needs someone to show it." As they reached a quiet hill overlooking the valley, Solara suddenly stopped. She stared at the horizon, her eyes filling with tears. "That's where my palace once stood," she whispered. But now there was nothing, just soft green fields and old stones buried in grass. Jared placed a hand on her shoulder. "We can rebuild it, not just the palace, but the spirit of your people. Hope, friendship, unity, that's what truly matters." She looked at him, her tears shining like diamonds. "You speak like a king," she said softly. Jared blushed. "I'm just someone who believes in you." They camped by a small spring that night. As the stars blinked awake above them, Jared shared stories of earth-fove blue oceans, laughing children, quiet books read by firelight. Solara listened with wonder, her eyes wide with interest. "Your world is beautiful," she said. "Not because of its power, but because of its heart." Jared smiled. "Maybe one day I'll show you." Solara moved closer, wrapping her robe tighter against the night breeze. "You saved me, Jared. Not just from the curse, but from a life. Without meaning, you reminded me what it means to feel, to trust, to dream again." Her voice trembled with emotion. Jared looked at her, and for a moment everything else disappeared. He whispered, "You gave me purpose too." That night, they didn't need grand plans or ancient magic. Just the quiet comfort of knowing they had found each other in a galaxy full of stars. Two souls from different worlds, united not by fate but by choice. Jared knew challenges lay ahead. But for now, under the open sky, with Solara beside him, he felt stronger than ever. And as she rested her head gently on his shoulder, he made a silent promise he would stand with her always, not as her savior, but as her friend. The wind was soft that morning, brushing over the valley like a whisper of memories. Jared stood beside Solara, overlooking the place where her kingdom once lived. Only the old stones remained now half buried, forgotten by time. But in Solara's eyes, Jared could see the shape of her past still alive. She didn't cry, but her silence held 1,000 unspoken feelings. Jared gently took her hand, and in that quiet moment, she leaned her head against his shoulder. No words were needed. He was there, and that was enough. For the next few days, they worked side by side, clearing the area around the ruins. Not to rebuild stone for stone, but to honor the spirit of what once was. Solara taught Jared the old songs of her people's soft melodies that echoed through the hills like gentle prayers. In return, Jared told her stories of his own life, his lonely apartment, his love for stars, and the day he first saw her, hidden in crystal, glowing with quiet hope. Every evening they sat by the fire, sharing laughter, soft silences, and dreams for the future. As they planted the first saplings where the old palace once stood, Solara paused and looked at Jared. "You've given me more than freedom," she said, her voice tender. "You gave me the courage to live again." Jared smiled, brushing soil from his hands. "And you reminded me that even the smallest kindness can change a life." Word began to spread across nearby systems. Rumors of a glowing forest, of a human traveler, and a mysterious woman who healed people with songs and light. Curious visitors began arriving, tired wanderers, lost families, and quiet souls seeking hope. Jared and Solara welcomed them all. No one was turned away. With each person, they shared their story, not one of war or power, but of healing, trust, and the magic of connection. One evening, as the stars rose over the valley, the visitors gathered around the fire. A child asked Solara, "Were you really a princess?" Solara smiled gently and looked toward Jared before answering. "Once, yes. But now, I'm something better. I'm a friend, a healer, someone who believes in others, Jared's heart filled with pride as he listened. He never imagined his quiet life would lead to this moment, surrounded by people, light, and purpose. And all because he chose to care for a small glowing creature in a dusty market. Later that night, as the crowd slept and the fire burned low, Jared sat beside Solara under the open sky. The stars reflected in her eyes, and for a long time they simply watched in silence. Then she turned to him and said softly, "When I was trapped in crystal, I dreamed of someone like you. I didn't know your face, but I felt your kindness. Through the silence, now I know it was real." Jared felt a tightness in his chest and whispered, "You saved me too, in a way I never expected." Solara reached out, placing her hand over his heart. Together, we made something beautiful. Not just for us, but for everyone who needs hope. And as the wind moved through the trees and the stars shone above them, Jared realized this was not the end of their story, it was just the beginning. He didn't know what challenges tomorrow would bring. But with Solara beside him, with kindness, as their guide and love, as their strength, he knew they could face anything. And so, under the quiet sky of a once-lost kingdom, a human and an alien princess sat side by side to hearts from distant worlds, now forever joined by one simple truth. Sometimes the smallest choice can change everything.